Let's get back to the U.S. economy. It will need time to recover from the coronavirus crisis, a concept backed by the Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker. In an interview with Bloomberg's Carol Massar, he discussed how he believes the U.S. workforce can benefit from retraining and other aid, even post-pandemic. Take a listen.
Without getting into the specifics of the election, I think the message that I take away from this is workers want to, feel like they're valued and that they're rewarded for their work. And people who haven't made it yet, right, people who want to get into the middle class, they need a ladder up. They need a rung up on the ladder. They feel frustrated. And that's not just in the urban centers. That's true across the country. I think about my district in rural Pennsylvania. They feel the same way. So I think that's the work we're trying to do at the Philly Fed, is to figure out how to accelerate that process to bring more people into the middle class.
And we're going to break it all down. What do you think about, though, in terms of a new administration, in terms of leadership, and in terms of really the meaningful policy discussions that we need to be having when it comes to workers? Because it's amazing, and you and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, in terms of forgotten workers. It's not just a 2020 thing. It's been around for years.
Right. Exactly. And I think first, I'm looking forward to having policy discussions, right? Deep policy discussion, having a debate. This is the nature of our democracy, having that debate. And I think this is worthy of a serious debate. I think this is one of the most critical problems we have, because if we don't solve this problem, then people lose hope, right? And when they lose hope, lots of bad things happen, whether to their health or to their communities. So we've got to focus on this right now.
So I also want to ask you one other macro. What is the economic backdrop that we're going to be dealing with as workers? One of the things I know we have a lot of conversations in our newsroom is workers are worried. They're either worried about keeping their job or they don't have a job. What's the economic backdrop we're going to be dealing with for the next 6 to 12 months?
So start out quickly. Before the pandemic hit us, we had a strong economy. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect for everyone, but it was strong. This pandemic has shown us a lot of problems that we have, underlying problems we've had in our society, whether they're racial injustice and inequity, or just the fragility of somebody and their family in terms of their well-being. That has now been exacerbated. Plus, it's accelerated trends we already saw with respect to automation and other trends that we saw. So this pandemic, I think, we're not just going to snap right back to the previous economy. And I think that's unrealistic. There are people, though, that need to be retrained. This has accelerated, for example, trends in retail, right? We've seen that. I don't think retail is going to come back in the same way. So we're going to have to figure out how to retrain that workforce, and not just to get a different job at the same pay, but ideally at a better job with higher skills.
How worried are you about the U.S. labor force when you think about it overall? Because, you know, what's interesting, I feel like if you go back to when the major auto companies, right, all over Detroit, I mean, you know, working in a Ford plant or a GM plant, that was a great middle-class job. You supported your family well. Those have been gone for a long time, and I feel like now we're going to see another cycle of that hit the American worker.
But it's up to us. I really believe, I'm an optimist. I'm an engineer by training. I'm an optimist. We can solve this problem. This is not some problem that can't be solved. If we put our minds to it and collectively put our minds to it, government, business, nonprofits, we can move this. And this is the work we're doing at the Philly Fed that we can talk about.